For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. Why was Giordano Bruno burned? Most modern people know only what's written in high school textbooks about Giordano Bruno. These mention briefly that he was declared a heretic and burned at the stake because, like Copernicus, he claimed, against church dogma, that the earth is round and revolves around the sun. However, a closer look at his biography reveals that what the textbooks say is quite superficial. One of the most common myths about Bruno is that he was executed at a young age. This belief stems from two surviving portraits in which he appears youthful. All other images of him were burned by decision of the Catholic Church, but Bruno was born in 1548 and executed at the age of 52. At that time in Europe, this was considered quite advanced, even old age. Another myth is that Giordano Bruno was not a recognized scholar. Modern researchers often emphasize that his works contain no mathematical calculations. It's true that he spoke of the infinity of the universe and the diversity of its planets, but more as a publicist. Most of his works were comedies and poems. So, he may be considered more of a literary figure than a scientist. Nevertheless, his extended travels across Europe show that people of his time viewed him as a man of science. He lectured at major European universities, including the Sorbonne and Oxford, and defended 2 doctoral theses. Several of his works focused on the development of memory. It is said that Bruno, using a special memorization technique, could recite over 1,000 books by heart, including the Bible and the works of Arab philosophers. In 1581, one of his lectures was attended by French King Henry III, who was impressed by Bruno's memory. The monarch invited him to court and gave him a generous stipend, but Bruno quarreled with members of the French Academy and had to leave Paris. Later in London, Bruno gave lectures on Copernican theory, which stated that the sun, not the earth, is at the center of our planetary system. There he published his most important scientific work on the infinite universe and worlds, in which he argued that inhabited planets must exist elsewhere in the cosmos. For 16 years, he traveled throughout Europe, giving lectures and spreading his ideas. In 1591, Bruno returned to Italy as a private tutor to the Venetian aristocrat Giovanni Mocenigo. However, their relationship soon soared. A year later, Mocenigo reported him to the Venetian Inquisition, claiming that Bruno was a heretic for asserting that other worlds existed, that Christ had not died by God's will and had tried to escape death, that human souls migrated after bodily death, and so on. The third and most widespread myth is that Giordano Bruno was executed for his progressive scientific ideas, especially his belief in infinite worlds and the heliocentric system. But by the late 16th century, many others expressed similar views without being persecuted. Paradoxically, all of Bruno's works were declared heretical only 3 years after his death. So why was he sent to the stake? Documents from the Roman court show that Bruno was punished for rejecting core principles of Christianity. In fact, he created his own belief system that denied the official values of the time. In all societies and eras, this has been strictly punished. Even today, in democratic countries, people who advocate anti-democratic ideologies like Nazism or racism face legal consequences. For more than 7 years, inquisitors tried to make Bruno renounce his heretical beliefs, but he remained steadfast. On February 9, 1600, the tribunal declared him an unrepentant, obstinate, and unyielding heretic. He was stripped of his monastic status and excommunicated. The sentence was carried out on February 17, 1600, at the Campo de Fiori in Rome. Another myth about the great heretic is that the Catholic Church has since forgiven him and condemned the actions of the Inquisition. But unlike the case of Galileo, this is not true. In fact, in 2000, on the 400th anniversary of Bruno's execution, Cardinal Angelo Sodano, as the official Vatican representative, called the actions of the inquisitors a regrettable episode, but stressed that they did everything possible to save the heretic's life. This was not an act of forgiveness. The Church still considers Bruno's death sentence justified. Even Pope John Paul II, known for his progressive views, gave a sharp reply when asked why Bruno had not yet been rehabilitated. "When you find extraterrestrials, then we'll talk."